Welcome to the PR Resolution podcast. Today is a very hot day in East London, but my guest, Celia Harding, has flown in from Sydney, so she should be pretty used to the heat, I think. But anyway, she's come a long way and I'm very, very excited to speak to her. Now, I don't know about you, but my whole LinkedIn feed and actually every conversation I'm having at the moment is about PR's future in AI. And not just about workflow, it's about the huge opportunity in AI search and how PR could really benefit from this as an industry. So Celia Harding didn't just read these posts and sit and watch to see if this might be a trend. She really took action. She's just launched the world's first consultancy that's solely focused on PR and AI search. So welcome to the podcast, Celia.
Hello, great to meet you, Stella.
Yes,
finally in real life.
I know. Should we just actually share that? We've been connected online for a long time, and actually we were trying to work out, we just missed each other from crossing paths an agency in a previous life as well, didn't we?
The Splendid crew.
Yes.
Big
Hello,
love.
Splendid crew, yes. But now, today, so you're based in Sydney, and can you tell us about LEOPRD, the new agency that you've just set up?
Yeah, it's called LEOPRD, and it means LEOPRD, which is Language Engine Optimization PR. So we are in the business of getting large language models like ChatGPT to recommend your brand and recommend the founders or the leaders behind it too.
We're going to get into the detail of this, but what was you doing before you launched LEOPRD? You're obviously part of the PR industry. What was you doing before you decided to solely just set up a consultancy on this?
So I've worked in PR for over 20 years. Such a PR nerd. I absolutely love it and the impact that it can have on brands. And I worked agency side for many, many years. Then when I had kids, I thought, I need to find a way to carry on working in the PR industry that works a little bit better for me. And so I created an agency called PR Shed, which was designed to shake up the industry in terms of providing a subscription model for startups and scale-ups to access affordable PR advice and consultancy. And that's been running for about 7 or 8 years. It was doing really well. But then I could obviously see through my own Google usage and what was happening with, the various AI models, that this was the next frontier, ultimately, like how these brands were going to be showing up here. Google was in decline. This is the next big thing. And looking at, where these models were getting these responses from and analysing those sources, I could see that it was all being driven by traditional media. So keen to capitalise on that, obviously. But also, I went down the rabbit hole massively, educated myself on it and declined a lot of clients to really immerse myself in everything that's going on and, created LEOPRD.
There's quite a few things there that I want to jump on. But before we get into the detail, you educated yourself. I'd love you to educate some of our listeners if people are just starting out and aren't just reading some of these posts that are going around. LEOPRD, you said, is part of the acronym LEO.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of acronyms being thrown around at the moment. So can we just sort of run through a few?
Yeah, of course.
So LEO, starting off with
Language Engine Optimization, and that is making your brand easy for the LLMs to understand.
LLM.
Large language model. So that is any of the likes of ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot, and there's loads more being created. But it's making sure that your brand is easy to understand, quote, and surface ultimately in those recommendations.
Yeah. GEO.
That is generative engine optimization. So rather than just being language focused, it is image, it could be video. So how can you influence that content output? So you've got Sora, for example, Midjourney, all of those things.
So this is really important for people thinking about them. It's going to be a question later on about the style of PR that they're doing, the kind of content that they're creating. So these acronyms aren't just jargon that we're breaking down. It is actually really important for people to know and talk to clients about. NLP. Now, that's a counselling acronym, isn't it?
I know. But it's actually natural language processing. And that is the umbrella term for letting computers read and understand what you're saying, but in the way that humans naturally talk and speak.
Yeah, great. That's how we should be doing PR anyway, relating to the public in the way that they operate and talk. And also for the real beginners, this is all, you mentioned search engines versus AI search.
Yeah.
Now, this is all different to SEO, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So
briefly, I know that we could go.
Yeah.
So
that
could be an hour's chat,
in a nutshell, imagine your brand is mentioned in a single AI response and it's instantly trusted by millions of people, or you're simply erased from the conversation. So with Google, it was all about page rank, and now it's more about presence. So before you had reams and reams of Google results, you had to sift through them. But now it's all about being featured in that recommendation, which is quite limited. And so you need to optimize for that presence. And before it was all about links, backlinks. Often there was a lot of shady websites being used, but actually it's all about all of the sort of credible sources citing you. And that's how you're going to be featured.
And that's why this opportunity is actually bigger than the SEO opportunity that was been talked about for the last, oh my goodness, I don't know, 20 years or something. Because everybody was like, oh no, PR's missed the opportunity of SEO. Yeah. But like you say, that was often about links, and then there was a whole of the SEO industry really focused on links so much that there was a lot of shadiness going on, but we won't go into full detail about that. But that's why this is really about PR, isn't it? Because nobody else can do this job better than a PR.
100%.
Yeah.
And I undertook a massive study looking at what was influencing the AI responses about Australian unicorns and fastest growing businesses. And what it uncovered was that these models trust more what other people are saying about you than what you say yourself. And that's been the case with traditional PR for a long time. And that's why you've seen those kind of old-fashioned multipliers of coverage. But it's the same with this. There's a 3 times multiplier of what these engines are trusting about these other things that people are saying rather than yourself. So while owned content is important, it only accounts for about 20% of its influence.
Amazing. And are there particular sites that these engines are trusting more than others?
Yeah.
What does this mean to our media lists?
So legacy media does carry more clout, definitely. But then, you know, if you're working on sort of more niche industries, those trade publications are definitely going to count. And let's not forget, we aren't just optimizing for machines. We still need to talk to the humans as well. But as we move into more of an agentic landscape, which I might be getting too technical here, but yeah, you need to be thinking about this now, because machines are going to be making purchasing decisions on behalf of humans. So the more you can do now to optimize for that, the better.
So you mentioned right at the beginning that you actually turned down some business to solely focus on this. So I'm guessing that means that not all businesses and brands have this in their focus and on their marketing agenda right now. Is that starting to change? Is there budget available for this right now?
Look, I think definitely there'll be more budget in the UK right now, just because Australia is a massive laggard in terms of AI literacy, trust. It's catching up, but it is definitely way down the pecking scale than the UK and other markets. But I think the more that people are noticing and, you know, getting referrals from leads and prospects, and they're saying that they found them via ChatGPT, they're starting to, the cogs are starting to turn, and they're working out, actually, okay, now we need to look at this. And you know, a quick way to get a gauge on, you know, if you're getting many leads from this is setting up those G4 analytics to check if you're getting referrals from those large language models. And that's quite a simple thing to set up.
Do you find that you're sort of educating businesses and brands and then helping them? Like, where are you at the moment with setting up LEOPRD and talking to clients?
So there's a massive education piece that's going on, and where, you know, I think brands are just potentially only starting to cotton on to this, or the SEO teams might be sort of trying to engineer those conversations. People, they need that education piece. then they need to understand what these sources are and what's driving it. And then you're going to see these marketing budgets being recut massively to reflect where this influence is coming from. So the report that I worked on uncovered that these machines, they're not reading and scraping ad campaigns. So if you've got a marketing team and they're, investing hugely in meta spend, those ads aren't being scraped. Yes, you might be seeing a great return on investment because, it's easily measurable. But, looking ahead, that's not going to influence where people are looking for information and making those purchasing decisions.
It sounds like it could be a real challenge to be a marketing manager and budget holder right now, because they're having to rethink their whole strategy and the way that they've been doing things for years. So let's get into the strategy, I guess. Like, how different is this to a normal PR's role? Because I think there's a lot of people who are reading about the opportunity, maybe getting excited, but there's going to be an element of fear there to think, oh, can I do this? Is this going to be different? Can we just add this as an add-on to the agency? What actually changes in the PR role to be able to get in front or be surfaced by the language models?
Look, the ultimate goal is to generate conversation on multiple channels, because we know it's about showing up in different places for different reasons. So it comes down to the business objectives, like what are your goals? The different platforms have different personalities, so they will highlight and feature different content versus one another. So if your audience are, if you've got B2B business, for example, and you've got a lot of people that are using Copilot, then that would be, a slightly different approach to, maybe a consumer sided business that is mainly ChatGPT orientated, for example. There's slightly different approaches for each, but you need to kind of understand the audience, as always, understand how these models are shaping things, what they're saying about you in the first place. Like, at baseline, just ask it, who am I? What do you think I am?
Wow.
And then why are you telling me this information? And study it, really get to the bottom of it and understand like what prompts your audience are asking these machines and how can you reverse engineer it to drive those conversations and show up where it counts.
So you talked about the different platforms being more relevant to different sectors. Is this something that's important to all sectors, or do you think that there's some particular sectors that this is all that they need to be doing and somewhere maybe the audience isn't really there yet?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you're in FMCG, it's probably a little bit less maybe focused at the moment. Like, if you're going to buy a can of baked beans, are you really going to be looking up ChatGPT to get some information on it? I don't know. But yeah, financial products, automotive, that sort of thing. I'm on a working holiday at the moment. And so I've just been in Italy and France for the last week or so. And I was using ChatGPT to create itineraries for where I was staying, where I was going, where I was eating. And it was providing me some really great stuff and saving me a load of time on, filtering through what I should be doing. And, if you look through all the reviews, is it great? Is it not? Who are the people leaving these reviews? But I do actually really trust ChatGPT. I feel like it knows me.
I do feel since I've become a mum, it's actually helped me massively.
Yeah. It's very much my co-collaborator. And so, it was churning out some great stuff and was leading me to the right places that, it delivered.
Where do people start? If an agency leader is listening to this conversation right now and just thinking, oh my goodness, we really need to be involved in this, where would they start with even just the research tools that you've mentioned, just actually start using the platforms themselves? But are there other kind of discovery tools that a PR should be thinking about and using?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can well and truly go down the rabbit hole with all of this stuff.
I bet there's new ones popping up every day.
Yeah. There's a few that I am using, obviously In the Mix, which you guys created. Great work.
Not everyone might know that, but inthemix.ai, do play with that one.
Yeah, In the Mix is good to have a play around with, and that focuses on the media sources that some of the different platforms are using. And then you've got things like Peak, which focuses on share of model. So you can see what share of response that you have versus other competitor brands, which is really useful, what prompts people are using. And yeah, it compares them all, which is great. And then, yeah, there's so many. They are literally popping up every day. Trackerly, there's Athena, there's so many. So just, yeah, immerse yourself and give yourself the space to actually play with it, because it really is the next frontier. And, you know, there's another big thing in the PR land, which is, you know, if clients are going to these models to get responses, in terms of your own business model as an agency, what are you selling? Because if, you know, you've been selling time for money, all of this, you know, for so long, and clients can now get an answer which might be just as good as what you're providing traditionally in much shorter space of time. So you are going to need to look at what your business model is and how you can, you know, look at things for this new.
So does leopard show up ourselves. Then?
I'm working on it. There's lots of things that we need to do. But yeah, definitely, like, yeah, we're working on it. You know, it's not just earned media, it's reviews, it's awards. There's a whole kind of ladder of things that contribute.
Can we go into the detail of that a bit more?
Absolutely.
So, because I think that's really helps people once we get sort of practical. So, yeah, you've mentioned that media sites are really trustworthy and they're being cited as the sources of information. Now, how can awards help?
So again, it's those trust and credibility markers. And generally, you know, most awards are from media outlets as well. So if you are top 20 companies or 30 under 30 as a leader, whatever it is, it's those trusted signals that they're looking for. So yeah, it is really important that you are putting your hat in the ring for those achievements, and it will make a difference. I was at a conference yesterday, actually, and one agency was saying that they spend 100K on a year on award entries. And I was like, holy moly. But actually, it might be a really solid investment now. So yeah, just think about what are those awards and yeah, how can you enter? But then also on the reviews.
PR agency.
This was a PR agency, yeah. One of the bigger ones. Yeah, so and then on the review side as well, and this is another opportunity I think for PR agencies to shape as well, is, you know, reviews are really influential for these platforms. So how can you work with clients, or if you're in-house, look at the whole consumer journey and shape that based on what people are searching for? So if you've just been generating reviews because, you know it's important because people are using Google reviews or whatever, you know, what are the other things that, you know, would be important? Like if you're a restaurant and you've got a kid-friendly area, for example, can you incentivize people to leave a review for making, you know, around kids, so that you're searching up for, you know, you're being recommended in those relevant prompts that people are entering?
Something that I found interesting when I moved from PR to SEO many moons ago was the difference in how the clients would brief and what the objective of a campaign would be. So we're used to, in PR, being told that we're launching this new product and we want as much buzz about this product and this new product name or this new campaign name, event, etc. Now, then when I went to SEO, it was more us advising, you need to be known for this because this is what the people want.
Yeah.
And so we're going to help you get into that space because this is what people are in demand and looking for, and you could be in demand if you just move into this space. So it was almost like two different approaches. So when we're thinking about AI search, you mentioned that you're talking about the searchers, you know, people who are looking for the best X or, you know, the top 10 blah. So how would you advise, because PRs are still sort of in that space of, we're going to launch something and we're going to make you known, but it's kind of like a new concept, isn't it, sometimes, of trying to get clients to think in a different way. Where does this sit?
Yeah. It's very
if
good.
That makes sense.
It's a very good question.
Because it's like a change in strategy and thought for a practitioner.
Yeah, look, ultimately, brands are going to still need to launch products if they want to, reinvent themselves, cater to the new audiences, markets, make more money. So you're still going to need to do launch PR, and that will help with your visibility and what you want to be known for. But you do also need to look at it from the other side of the fence. What are people looking for, and how can you be that answer? Because it's an answer and recommendation economy now.
Yeah.
So you want to be the answer.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? This is the way the world is now.
Machines are just another stakeholder. You still want the humans.
Yeah.
You still want the humans, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, the machines are another audience.
This podcast is brought to you by Coverage Book, the tool that creates beautifully designed reports with credible metrics you can be proud of. Head to coveragebook.com for your free trial. So what kind of clients are you working with or want to be working with? What kind of sector will you be in?
Well, at PR Shed, it's always been completely industry agnostic because I firmly believe like the process is always the same. Find a good story and tell it to the right person at the right time. And it's still similar with LEOPRD because ultimately we're still trying to get earned media coverage. So we still need to find out what those stories are, but we just need to make them more relevant to the prompts and the engineering and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, we will be completely industry agnostic. We will work with a lot of startups and scale-ups and continue to work with founders. I love that because they're just so innovative. They get it. They want results, and we're in the business of getting results. And yeah, it's great because, they're trying to work in really smart ways to beat some of their competitors that might have these massive marketing budgets, and we're being really clever about how we can answer their briefs. And
you mentioned working with founders and leads of the business. Is collaboration on these campaigns important for AI search?
Yeah, and it's not just digital, right? It's also like the report that I worked on also showed it's the offline activities as well. So speaking opportunities, podcasts, all of that stuff, it all ladders up. Particularly with like personal branding, which is all the rage at the moment, LinkedIn does count. So yeah, there's a lot of that. But
I've noticed a lot of LinkedIn posts appearing in my search results, more so recently than ever before.
Yeah.
And especially like LinkedIn articles. I didn't even notice LinkedIn articles before. The last couple of weeks they're popping up.
Yeah, I mean the algorithm has changed in the last couple of weeks because I think they were just trying to fight back all of the AI tripe that was coming up that was sending people in the
It's good
platform.
because they're really recent as well. They're literally in the last couple of days. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely what you're doing offline that counts as well. So, and I think as well when, AI is going to change the landscape of work and how we operate again. Like we thought COVID was this catalyst for major change, but this is going to be even bigger. And particularly in Australia, it feels like businesses and the government are sleepwalking into a crisis around what is the impact going to be on, people's working lives, their spare time, their migration, all of those things that isn't really being looked at. And even some of the big sort of major tech companies have even come out in the media in the last couple of weeks saying they didn't realise that it was coming as quickly as it is. And
I think
things
it's taken everyone by surprise, really. I mean, I know everyone said, it's going to move fast, but, I'm being on maternity leave and I mean, it's going to make me sound terrible, but I did actually feel like I needed to come back sooner because it's just like, this is moving fast.
It's changing at pace.
If I take more time off and just completely shut off, I just spend very quality time with Mikey, everybody. But,
well done.
I still do. He's old news, though. I did feel like I needed to stay in touch. I really did keep my toe in the water, kept chatting to Gary, kept reading up on things because it's just like
it's rapid. It's rapid, but I also think like for anyone else that is out on maternity leave at the moment that may be listening to this, like it is changing so rapidly. So if you can, don't panic. Just read. Just
check
up
in
to speed like a couple of weeks before you go back to
about
work.
every change.
Yeah, because it is really overwhelming, and you could just, it's stressful enough having a child and enjoying
without trying to keep up.
But don't feel like you're going back to work and you're on the back foot because I think you can quickly get a grip of what's happening. So yeah, try and enjoy that maternity leave if you can.
It's really important. Going back to the actual strategy and how you get this off the ground. So we've talked about the types of collaboration and the types of PR. So we've done well. We've got our coverage. Now, normally with PR, we'll go, great, we've got the coverage, put that into a report. What happens next if with this kind of focus? Like, do you need to do anything more with the coverage? I.e., like, should you boost it? Do I pay to boost coverage? Can that get more attention for? Does it get picked up quicker? Or do you need to do anything else, or is it literally just sit and watch what happens to see if it gets picked up?
I would advise doing some great analysis of it. Because the way that these machines work, they're training data, which they have multiple sources of using, from everything from literature to media to whatever else, God knows what they've been trained on. But then if they don't have the answers in their training data, they will crawl the web to get those answers. And that is a focus on recency. So where before, if you were doing, a launch of a new product, you might have this big bang of coverage, and that would be great, in terms of evergreen exposure online. But now you're going to have to keep feeding the beast. Okay. So there is a case for, getting budget from clients. Or,
so this needs to be a retainer. This isn't just a quick blast campaign.
No. And you can also look at, every day there's a new publisher that has announced a partnership with a large language model. So there's different publishers that you can optimize for different models as well. So look at that, think about that. But then also benchmark, like your share of model over time. Is it the same over 30 days? Is it the same over 60 days, 90 days? Is that piece of coverage that you secured, the Financial Times, is that sitting there for longer versus, a trade publication, for example. But beyond that, it's, as I said before, it's about this presence rather than page rank. So it's scraping the web for information about you and language about you. So you need to be showing up in as many places as possible. So if you have been on a podcast or you have done an interview somewhere, where else can you share that information and repurpose that content? And a lot of people will be doing that already. But you need to get clever about where you're putting that and why.
Just think about the frequency of getting coverage out. Could it be useful to get involved in those pages that, and I know about these pages a lot because we used to target them for SEO reasons when back in the day when I was doing SEO PR, but I also do see them in a lot of people's reports. So those pages on publications that stay the same sort of URL, but they get updated. So it could be like top 10 places to visit in London or, those kind of lists style coverage. Do they help because they're being updated frequently?
Yeah, it's all about the publication, and really it's domain authority, similar to SEO.
You can get domain authority scores in coverage book, people.
Absolutely, yeah. You can. Again, it's those publications that are being scraped. You want to be showing up. It doesn't really matter too much about whether it's being updated regularly. It's just that recency thing in terms of the content appearing. So,
So you said as well that this does need to be ongoing. Are you constantly researching search behaviour for clients? Should one be constantly thinking about the different ways that a brand could show up?
Look, I think you need to be measuring where you're at and what people are saying right now.
Yeah, seasonality would make a difference.
Seasonality does, yeah. But you just need to be benchmarking it, how and why, and then what do you want to be known for, and then make it happen.
Target audience research with a whole new level with this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's huge. It is huge. And, you've got things like Reddit, which are making it...
I feel like it's made a huge comeback.
It has. And the reason for that is because it is a prime example of natural language processing. It's like a bank of information that has been around for a decent amount of time that brands can raid for, insights into their audience and examples of how people are having a conversation in a natural way about topics that they want to know answers to. And that's exactly how these machines work. So we've gone from Google, which is typically 3-4 keyword search, best restaurants in London, for example. And then now you're getting, 20 to 30 word prompts. And as people get better in their prompting abilities, those prompts are only going to get longer because they know that they're going to get better results the more they improve their prompt writing. And I just want to give a shout out to another tool, which I think is absolutely amazing. Yeah. It's called Prompt Cowboy, and it's by a team in Australia, and they're really good. So check them out.
What does it do?
So it just writes prompts, really great prompts for you. Just pop in what you want, and the quality that you get.
So to understand how a searcher might be writing these prompts, is that what it is? Or?
No, so you just go, okay, I want to write a press release about X, and then it will give you the prompt that you need to then
rather
stick in
than keep
ChatGPT.
having to add.
Yeah.
Because it does, I mean, just from the searcher perspective, it does surprise me every time that I need to keep adding more, and it can take that amount of information. It's like, and this and that. And it actually works sort of so much better or more detailed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we've been trained
to keep it short.
Yeah. Especially when I worked in SEO and all of our target keywords. It was target keywords for so many years.
Yeah. And so they have this framework. It's called the Stoke method, and it's situation, task, outcome, something. But it's how Prompt Cowboy works. And it's a really great way to frame the prompt, and it will give you whatever you stick in there. The prompt will be amazing, and you'll get really great results off the back end. So, check it out.
Before we run out of time, I have to get on to measurement and reporting because it is my big area of interest. Now, you mentioned right at the beginning that plugging into analytics and seeing referral coming through this, right? So is that the main way of tracking to see whether this has been a success?
Well, I think it's a great starting point. Before you even start the campaign, are people using large language models to find your brand? If they're not, you might want to carry on with your, what's working right now. But I'd advise investing now, because if they're not using large language models to find you now, they will be soon.
And could it be that you're just not appearing?
They need you. You're just not there. Yeah, absolutely. G4 Analytics is a no-brainer, and you can split it out by the various channels as well. So, that's key. And then, as I said, there's all these other measurement tools that you can use to track you versus your competitors. You can use traditional PR metrics like sentiment analysis and all of those kind of things to see, if it is positive or negative, and what are the sources that are most frequently being cited, not only for you, but your competitors. So then you can use them to almost create a hit list of where you want to be and approach it in the right way.
Would you use in the mix for that?
Yes. Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah.
It was relevant.
Get the plug in.
Back in SEO days, I've mentioned that we'd have a keywords target list, and it would be reasonably easy for a business to attribute a value to those product keywords. This feels like it would be really difficult to sort of attribute what the value could be. Big question to end with. How valuable is this? And can you put a value on it to brands or to businesses at the moment?
In the time that we are in at the moment, where budgets are tight and you've got the C-suite breathing down your neck, it is an opportunity for us to really come to the table and show how much our work is delivering in terms of that referral traffic and really making a difference. And I think the tools that are out there and what we can do is really trackable now. And I think, the more you immerse yourself in this, and the more you don't want to have metrics for metrics' sake. They want to be clearly linked to those business outcomes. But I think we've got the tools, we've got the info, we can shape this, and it is our role as PR experts and comms experts to shape the language that is being said about these brands. And it's really, PR is going to have the biggest 10 years ahead, and I'm really excited. That we are finally going to get the recognition that we deserve, because, as I said at the start, it's what other people say about you that counts. And we're trusting these machines now. Well, I certainly am. And I know a lot of other people are finding the same, more than we trust the Google results, because, you know, these machines are getting to know us and those responses are getting better and better and better. And you can get these answers better, and we're going to have more time at our disposal, hopefully.
Yeah. Having come from like the SEO of PR, this feels so much clearer and such a clearer path in the way you've just explained of actually proving that connection and that journey as well. That there are metrics available for people to go and track now.
Yeah, 100%. It's our time to shine, everyone.
It is. Thank you so much, Celia, for explaining in a really clear way, breaking down the jargon and explaining this amazing opportunity for PR. It's been really, really good chat. Thank you. If people want to get in touch, either the brands that are listening that want to work with you, or even if PRs just want to connect with you to talk about this, where can they find you?
Check us out at LEOPRD, which is LEOPRD.io. You can check out the research report that I've mentioned. It's on the blog section of the website, or drop me an email at celia@leopard.io. Love to hear from you. I'm always up for collaboration with PR people around the globe, and would love to chat to you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.